I'm back. So this it might be interesting to some not, but this chest right here, this is like an old antique travel chest, and it's filled to the top with old photographs. And I haven't cracked the sucker open in years. I just was going through this afternoon. It was like cracking open a frickin' time capsule. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre to see all those photos. Right back to when I was in elementary school, in old class photos. I had to wanted to get all these bears up off of the, piled up here and hanging up there, get some air going through them so they wouldn't get moldy or anything. And I cracked it open and ended up sitting here, right here, for about 3 hours probably. It's amazing. I got photographs of when the very first time I got on my horse Macaroni ever, riding him out in the open. He bucked me off once just because I didn't get my other foot in the stirrup on time. And then he bucked me off. He's just crow hopping and I fell off. He stood there, let me get back on him, and then that was it. We rode around. It was crazy. So many photos. And it reminds me of a whole pile of stories I want to share with everybody eventually as well. The experiences of people I've met through my lifetime from the guiding career are a little over the top, it might sound, but I got the pictures, you know. Oh, here come the goats. I'll never forget, I remember I guided a guy who was pretty tight with Elvis and actually lived in Graceland. It's funny, I didn't really listen, you don't listen to too many people when they start name dropping when you meet them up north in the middle of nowhere, because you don't really care. I don't care. And it wasn't until I got down there to the southern US, and then they invite you down. I used to go down and visit people all over the frickin' planet in the off season. And these guys, crooked as hell, this police department, I won't mention which one, but I got these pictures right here that reminded me of the weapons they had laying around the house and telling me to whack anybody if they showed up when they left me there alone at times. And took me down to this very corrupt police department and got me legal police ID, and that is the badge and my photo and my police ID and the guns they used to make me pack around if I was driving the Dodge Viper around Memphis, Tennessee, etc. It's just a weird time. It's a long time ago, 20 years ago, over. And I'll share the stories with you guys sometime. It's something else, I'll tell you what. Some of the people I've met and the places I went due to guiding. Crazy. But anyway, enough of that babbling. Got the terrorist goats up here. Little buggers. What am I gonna do? I've just got all my fishing gear ready. I'm gonna get up at 4:30 tomorrow morning and I'm out of here. I'm going into the wilds and I'm gonna videotape everything I can and as well make some shares tomorrow and show everybody something cool, I hope. In the meantime, we have another lengthy email from the Owl Man, all right? And he's gonna share a lot of his experiences from his ride, from his puzzle. And I'll caution you ahead of time to take from it what you will or leave it. All right? This is somebody sharing with you. Obviously you don't have to. Well, listen to this. This is titled Answers to Some of Your Questions. Remember last time you wrote, I think I was asking something about how much they actually have to eat. And he answered that. He answered a bunch of questions. So here we go. Listen to this. Enough to listen to me. Steve, thank you once again for taking the time to read what I sent you. I do hope others will not judge you for taking up your time reading this. I sent this to you in response to the questions you have asked about the wild people. You touched on wanting to know about their relationship to the dog man, their metabolism, and the invisibility thing. As you can imagine, I think I've asked just about everything curious-minded people would ask. How long they live, how long is their gestation period, how many races do you have, etc., etc. Please be aware that anything they have spoken of can be complete bullshit. I have no way of verifying anything they have said. It can all be lies. I listen to every share on your channel looking for validation and confirmation from others' experiences, and many of your shares from various people have confirmed many things they have shared publicly and privately. So let me try to address the things you asked and give the context in which they were conveyed to me. That's about how this channel's working though, isn't it? That's how it's been working out. That's how this channel's supposed to work out though, right? It's everybody taking what they can from each email, listening to each submission, seeing what's said, seeing what sounds familiar, seeing what makes sense, see what lines up, see what doesn't. I know there's been a handful of people complain about, oh, they're all the same emails, they're all sounding the same. That's possibly what your average person would want to realize, right? Because that makes it less likely that people are making this shit up when they all sound similar because it's a similar topic, right? Anyways, babbling. Let me get on with it. I'm freezing too. It's freezing in here right now. Now, the majority of information they have shared has come from 3 sources. 2 separate clans and 1 individual family group. The individual family group has by far shared the majority of the things I speak of. The Sabe govern themselves by 2 general groups of rules. There are social rules and individual clan rules. Societal rules and rules that all of them in general have to live by. Clan rules are set by a clan leader and can vary from clan to clan. I wish I could tell you all of the societal rules, but these are the ones I know of. Number 1, you cannot hurt or kill a human, bracket, naked little people, bracket. Number 2, you cannot kill each other. Number 3, do not steal. Number 3, I think, has been broken by them a lot. There are punishments for breaking these rules, and they can be very severe. I know killing one of us is the death penalty. Killing each other can be a gray area, kind of like it is with us. There's a difference between murder, manslaughter, self-defense, and so on. Punishment for society rules is kind of Old Testament-like. An eye for an eye sort of thing. Stealing food can get you put under house arrest, for lack of a better term. How do I know these things? I met a few rule breakers and criminals on my journey, but that's another story. Clan rules are a bit different. A clan leader decides what's acceptable and what is not. This is where there is a lot of variation and things are not set in stone. Here are some examples. Number 1, do not let yourself be seen by humans. Number 2, do not speak to humans with your voice. Number 3, do not accept food from humans. Number 4, do not accept any type of help from humans. Number 5, do not cross roads. Number 6, do not share information with humans. Well, so far, just like humans do, it sounds like every one of those rules has been broken by some of them, many of them. Every clan is going to be different, and how much they interact with us depends on the clan leader. If the clan leader hates us, the rules will be different from one who sees us in a favorable light. All of this is rather difficult to discover. It was the individual family group we were interacting with that seemed so different from the rest. It seems a family group that has no affiliation with a clan doesn't have to abide by any clan rules. They also seem to lack the protection a clan offers. There can be a difficult price to be paid for interacting with us. I found this out a few years in. When we interact with them via MindSpeak, they learn new words and ideas from us, and that doesn't go unnoticed by other Sabes. Sabe. This can cause a lot of damage to an individual clan and its leader. There is societal pressure to remain hidden and uninfluenced by us. Believe it or not, they are political beings too, and they sometimes deal with the same nonsense we do. I share these things just to give you a background as to how the information I share was acquired. It didn't happen overnight. It was a long, drawn-out process. Like I mentioned before, they don't communicate quite like we do, even with MindSpeak. They seem to have autistic, OCD, and ADD tendencies all rolled up into one. Honestly, that's the best way I can explain it. I also have to tell you, none of the ones we interacted with seem to have the ability to count, at least like we do. My friend had to teach them how by using our fingers, just like you would a small child. The funny thing is, we never got to 10. Once he got to 5 fingers, he associated one hand with 5, so when we asked how many people are in your clan, his reply was hand, 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 finger. Human translation, 26 clan members. I have to say, I was astonished to see how quickly this clan leader picked up on the concept of counting like we do. I have no idea how they count if they even can. I thought this was important to share because if you want to get specific information from them, you sometimes have to teach them how we process information. The Sabe and their relationship to dogmen. They hate them. When I say hate, hatred like racism hatred. In an angered tone, one called them nothing but animals. They kill and waste food, pay no attention to herds. The Sabe are actually selective when they kill prey. The Sabe called dogmen wolf creatures. When we first inquired about dogmen, they had no idea what we were speaking of. They actually asked a question, what is that? Can a man mate with a dog and produce such a thing? I remember saying no. I explained, dogman is something that looks like you but has the head of a wolf. His reply, you speak of the wolf creatures. We were assured that there were none living in the area where we were in at the time. He insisted that they are further north. In translation, dogmen locally were in the pine and birch forests of a more northern latitude. According to them, the dogmen will hunt, kill, and eat their unprotected women and children. Now, this is the unbelievable part. According to the Sabe, the wolf creatures are just like them. They are a people too, and they can do the things they can do. Dogmen are sentient, cognitive beings just like us and the Sabe. They can mind speak, travel through portals, and do invisibility things. It takes 3 Sabe to kill 1 dogman. 2 individuals to keep the arms from doing damage, and 1 individual to grab the head. To quote them directly, they have sharp teeth. Some will take a tooth as a trophy. I can only speak of the Sabe I have interacted with. Without exception, the hatred for these creatures was off the charts. They all said that if any of their people were friends with the dogmen, they were not aware of it. What? They all said that if any of their people were friends with the dogmen, they weren't aware of it. Got it. The thought of that was just disgusting to them. A side note to this. A female dogmen have breasts like humans, not canines, and give birth to 1 to 3 cubs. As far as what the dogmen call themselves, the Sabe have no idea, and they have never been able to find that out. Sabe will leave their homes if dogmen invade. They insist they are difficult to fight and overcome. Sometimes they can come to some type of an agreement between territories. As far as where they come from, they do not know. One Sabe said that his grandfather told him they came from across the borders. Borders is their word for oceans. In human translation, the dogman came from somewhere in the old world. Kind of interesting when you think of the werewolf legends of ancient Europe. The Sabe and cloaking invisibility. The Sabe call this walking in the spirit ball. I'll try to explain this brevity in mind because there is a lot to this. I've witnessed this with my naked eye and through a thermal camera. You can't see them in this state with a thermal camera, but you can see the heat signature wherever their body has contact with something. How do I know? I explained to a clan leader what a thermal camera does and how to avoid them. He offered to show himself in that invisible state. He walked over into a patch of gravel, and sure enough, you could see a thermal image of Prince walking around or standing still. Yes, it was beyond amazing and creepy to witness. Oh, and this thermal camera could not take video, in case someone was wondering. The damn thing cost me $5 grand at the time, and it was cheap because it didn't do that. I now only use this camera for checking my beehives in the winter. Walking in the spirit ball requires a lot of energy and can be maintained for long periods of time. The more energy invested, the more invisible they appear. As crazy as this sounds, they can walk through solid objects when in this state. The more dense the material, the harder it is to do. I know it sounds crazy. Hardwood is more difficult to move through than softwood. I'm guessing rock, metal, or lead may be more difficult or impossible. There are people who say they have seen them in their homes and they went through the walls. This is how they do it. Do you remember a story you shared where a nurse treated someone who claimed something big and hairy grabbed him and dragged him literally through a tree? They could pick up an object and extend the spirit ball around that object and move it along with them. I asked how they could do this. The reply was, I do not know, we just do. I guess if you asked a bird how it builds a nest or a spider its web, the answer would be the same. I have my own theories on how they do it. They don't understand the concept of energy as how we define it. Not all the Sabes can do this. They insist they are born with or without it. The Sabe and their metabolism. Their metabolism is different from ours or any other mammal as far as I understand. Once again, you can't just ask them about their metabolism. They have no idea what that means. A family of 4 can live off of a deer for a few days. Hey, get out of there. Beat it. Little buggers. Why do they gotta come to the tripod? This is the whole shop. But the goats gotta go to the tripod. I can't afford to have another camera to polish. Sorry about that. A family of 4 can live off of a deer for a few days. All right. Organ meat is eaten first. Muscle is torn into strips and eaten later. They can eat anything. They eat raw acorns with no effect from its tannins. Even the leaves of oak trees can be eaten. They have a working knowledge of herbal plant-based medicine and really value peppermint/spearmint. I was once asked if I could bring them spearmint so they could plant it, and I did. They eat small birds by swallowing them whole. One individual says he will not eat small birds because he doesn't like the way they slide down. They will also eat skunks, but is frowned upon for cultural reasons. Now, here's the interesting part. They can put themselves into a state of torpor. If food is scarce or the weather is nasty, then they can sleep through it. Think more of how a hummingbird sleeps at night versus a bear or a woodchuck. They do not hibernate, but can sleep through extended cold spells by lowering their metabolic rate. Sorry, metabolic rate. I'll tell you, sometimes I just can't read anything, eh? One individual told me he can survive on 1 rabbit a day for a short period of time, but conditions have to be difficult to survive like that. I've not been able to visit any Sabes since September. I typically will not bother them during the winter. I promised you I'd get answers for what happened to Edgar and the Irish gentleman who saw one forming an orb between his fingers. Hopefully I can get some answers and peace for both of them. As soon as time allows, I will do that and get back to you. Steve, I know all I have said sounds crazy. I've really had a hard time accepting all I've been told, let alone witnessed. So take it for what it is, even if you think I'm full of it. Put the information away because there may be a time when it will be of use. There was a time when I thought these strange abilities were just a product of a messed up mind. Now, apparently, I am standing in those shoes and not afraid to admit it. Peace and blessing to you and those who have ears to hear, Owlman. All right, man, appreciate it. And like you said, you imagine how many people are just shaking their head right now, thinking you're absolutely right out of it. But it is what it is. It's a mouthful to chew on, right? But if you have found yourself in the position where you already have been forced to accept the existence of these people, these beings, then you're probably going to be soaking up all this information and retaining it just in case or for whatever, right? You're adding pieces to your puzzle. There's so many mind-boggling things going on for real. I've learned a lot myself. I've been learning so much the past few years. It's ridiculous. One thing that I am 100% confident of is our history has been made up. Our true history we've been lied to without a doubt. In my mind, that's just how I feel about it. I'm not dictating to you guys, but for me, my puzzle tells me that we have been absolutely lied to about ourselves. And that is what's making us all confused. That's what's making all of us look for the answers nonstop, and that's what's making us naturally not trust anybody. Because we've been coerced, manipulated, we have been absolutely lied to since the first day we went to school, as far as I'm concerned. You may agree, you may not, but that's what I have learned for me so far. And I've learned much more, and I'll share more of that later on. But I'm going to share one more, I think, from a pilot friend of ours who generously emailed his experience a little while ago. So let me shut this thing off for a minute and see if I can't find it. All right, so y'all remember when we had, how's this, let's go down. We had a man email us a while ago who was flying in Afghanistan at nighttime, and what they were doing was, they typically did at nighttime was search for human targets on the ground to ensure a more of a safe pathway when the sun came up for the men on the ground. And they came across this being buckled over in a field. I'm pretty sure it was a crop field. There's snow on the ground, but they could see where the ground was mounted up and it was digging, you remember? And he said that when he hit it with the IR camera, over a kilometer away, I can't remember the distance, but it was in the kilometers. I'm pretty certain it was kilometers. When he hit with the IR, that thing saw it like that. It started booking up the mountain and they chased it up the mountain. Anyway, so after I shared what Edgar shared about the vision of these beings, our pilot emailed again and excited and added more. So here we go. Listen to this. This is titled Hell Yes. Steve, hell yes. Please relay a personal thank you to Edgar. It totally explains why that thing absolutely freaked out when I hit it with the IR pointer. But it also helps clarify some details that I unintentionally left out of my original email. I didn't mention it before, and I haven't really rationalized it in my brain until Edgar's shared just now, but its body motion struck me as awkward. It didn't seem to fit the scenario. However, Edgar's report on their potential sensitivity explains said motions as defensive in nature, especially when analyzing the motions associated with IR dose number 1 versus IR dose number 2. Upon the first dose, when I hit it, it swung its upper body rapidly upright at the hips and then to the left, but let its leftward torso rotation with its left forearm to secure a good blockage of the IR before its head arrived to attempt answering, "What the F?" It wasn't an inquisitive motion, but rather a surprise, "Ouch, what the F?" Run sequence. Oops. That movement always struck me as weird, but I hadn't figured why until Edgar's share. Its body motion upon my wingman's second dose of IR was 100% defensive, almost pain-avoiding recoil. When it crouched and remained motionless for 5 minutes while we circled, it wasn't a cautious, slow, stealthy movement as if it was calmly trying to lower itself to evade detection. It was rapid and panicked, shot downward, almost a defensive collapse, and it was immediate, nearly simultaneous with my wingman hitting the button. Maybe it huddled there screaming, "Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop." In hindsight, how it moved was a large contributing factor to the overall creepiness. Edgar just removed the creepiness for me. Now I feel some guilt though. We were pushing some serious wattage and we're within 1.5 nautical mile slant range by the second dose. 1.5 nautical miles, and that thing's in pain from the IR beam. Its eyes were in IR mode, and as sensitive as that report suggests, I probably injured it, and my wingman definitely caused it permanent damage. It wasn't doing anything to hurt anybody at the time, and here we are melting its goddamn eyeballs out of its giant skull. What does that say about us as a species, huh? Assuming they're of natural origin, in our natural world, there isn't anything that has supreme senses all around. Maybe their sense of smell isn't so great because they rely upon extreme eyesight. It could help explain why so many people comment on their stink. But here's the final thought. If I was one of them and some human asshole was out there using IR and laser pointers in my direction, I just might run up and rip his arms and legs off purely out of self-defense. Somebody suggested it to the Travel Channel ASAP. I'd watch that episode, the fighter pilot guy. Oh, that's interesting, man. What I would give just out of pure curiosity, what I would give to have been in that plane with you guys to see and watch what you guys saw and watched and tracked up that mountain. That must have been absolutely freaking amazing to watch. Absolutely amazing. But there you go. There's pretty cool that Edgar's story is helping you add some more puzzles to your piece, right? And make some more sense of what you saw down there. Man, can you imagine? I wonder how many people are going to try to go out and get juiced up IR beams now in hopes of making one blind so they can tackle it and hog tie and try to throw it in a pickup truck. Right. But anyway, I'm going to cut that one short, you guys, all right? Because I have just got too much to do. This is probably enough here for you guys to chew on and argue about, as it is our latest submission from the Owl Man. The noise you hear in the background is the two goats on top of Quad Mountain. I don't know why. They need to stand on top of the quad and headbutt each other off of it nonstop all the time. It's ridiculous. It's raining out. It's getting cold. I think it feels like it's going to snow. But anyways, I got all my hooks tied. I got all my stuff done. I'm ready to go. And I'm going to get up at 4:30 tomorrow morning and I'm out of here. I'm not sure if I'll be gone for the entire day or 2 days. We'll soon find out. If there isn't an upload after tomorrow, then I'm still out there. And I'm going to video as much as I can. Hopefully catch a fish, whatever. Either way, I'm going to hopefully show you guys some cool shit tomorrow. So, I should almost take some pictures of some of these old pictures, man. So many old pictures, it's crazy. My first turkey I shot in Missouri is in here. Stuff from Elvis's buddy. The White House is in here. Football players in Pennsylvania I met. So many old, crazy old memories. Back in the day of photographs, right? Back in the day of old photos. Texas, my first hog, shot in Texas. Smoking hot, I remember that. Here's a funny one here. I'll put all these together one day and make a video maybe. I remember I was in Memphis and I was with this lawyer. He's like, hey man, y'all want to come down to the courthouse and meet the king? I'm like, meet who? The king. Who's the king? Jerry Lawler. And I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. You don't know who Jerry Lawler is? He's almost the mayor of Memphis. I'm like, I don't know who he is, man. Jerry Lawler. He's a WWF guy. He's the king. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll come meet him. Here's the picture right here. I did a Polaroid of me meeting this Jerry Lawler. And then after that, I finally clued in. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that guy that beat up Lodka on David Letterman? He goes, yeah, that's the guy. And I'm like, okay, I'll come meet that guy. That's pretty funny. Anyway, there's an old story. What else we got? Look at this. Here's a picture of me when I was about, I don't know, 7 years old, trout fishing with my grandfather. So many pictures. All right, I gotta go. Dinner time. Gotta get these goats the hell out of here. And I'll be back. Hopefully that helped out you guys' some puzzle pieces for somebody out there.